Jake. So we went over Tasha's feats. I think this week we're gonna go over Tasha's spells. I've been trying to find out where Ben is at, but I'm not sure. I've been looking, like, I heard possibly Shadowfell, possibly Feywild. I'm not really sure. I
would think Feywild, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't been able to get in contact with him, man.
Yeah, I haven't talked to him in like a week at least.
Wait, did you hear that?
What?
Wait,
hello?
Are you there?
Let me out.
Hello?
Huh?
Let me out.
Who?
Wait, is that Ben?
I'm in the
Ben?
Cauldron.
You're in the Cauldron.
Oh.
He's in the Cauldron.
That makes sense. All right. I guess let's get him
just-
out.
Here, I'll just tip over the Cauldron. Here we go.
Tasha locked me in there. I was trying to steal her spells.
What did you do to her? What?
Well,
I
tried to
and
steal
guess
his spells.
what? I succeeded, boys. Take a look at these.
Whoa!
Now,
Oh, goodness.
here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna look at these spells, and we're gonna tell the people about our favorite ones.
All
By
right.
the way, I only stole 3 for each of us.
Oh, really?
That's
So,
fine. That's better than the 0 we had before.
Yeah,
that-
here's
you know
your
what? That's a
3
good
favorite, and here's your 3 favorite, and these are my 3
Oh.
favorite. I picked
how'd
them
you know
all.
that these are my favorite and not just like 3 random ones?
So welcome to Traveler's Tips and Tales. My name is Ben,
I'm Mike.
And I'm Jake.
and today we will be talking to you about our favorite spells from Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. You can find literally anything in there. It's a cauldron of everything. And today I happen to find spells. Yesterday I found a raccoon.
Do they have everything bagels?
They do have everything bagels.
Whoa.
Do they have
But
nothing
they have-
bagels?
They do not.
Oh, man. See?
Man.
Tasha can't have it all.
Paradoxes are not allowed within Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. Unless Mordenkainen is over.
That's true.
So yes, today we'll be talking about our favorite spells from Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. And I'd like to get us started off with a little something that I lovingly refer to by its name, because I'm not a pleb, as Mind Sliver. Mind Sliver is a cantrip, and you should take it. Everyone in your party should take it, because that's the best way to break it. And I can attest to this because I have a character, and I accidentally took it, as well as another person that took it, and we did not talk about it or plan it, but it worked out beautifully. It's
For those wondering, the other character is neither mine or Michael's character.
Yes, it is
Someone
not is neither. But you throw a disorienting spike of psychic energy into the mind of one creature you can see within range, which is 60 feet, by the way. It only requires verbal components, so all you have to do is insult someone, or whisper under your breath, or do whatever you're going to do, say whatever you're going to say, and you send that little bolt of psychic energy at someone's head, and they have to make an intelligence save, or take 1d6 psychic damage, and subtract 1d4 from their next saving throw it makes before the end of your next turn.
Which is pretty useful.
It's pretty useful. Like, I use it to get Catapult to work better. So I can hit them with things easier.
And another
Well,
person
that's-
uses it to
that's-
get the same spell over and over to work more and more.
Yeah, I was going to
Yeah.
say, that's not
Yeah.
exactly true, Ben, because most of the time you end up using it so that the other party member
Can use
Mind
Mind
Sliver.
Sliver even better.
was more
And then-
likely to hit, and his
Be-
Mind Sliver helps your Mind Sliver hit, and then your
Yeah.
Mind Sliver helps his Mind Sliver.
It's a
Well,
vicious cycle.
I'm not going
I
to
think
use
you guys can see where
Catapult
this is
on
going.
someone who's not a boss level threat. So, of course, I'm going to keep spamming my cantrip, obviously.
Especially if you're like a warlock.
Yeah, or a wizard in this case, or a
Yeah.
sorcerer. We're low level. We're like level 1 and 2. This is our strat. It works.
Yeah,
just keep on chip damage, you know?
damage is damage, baby. That's what I always say.
It's also a beautiful spell because it's psychic damage. And before, the only cantrip you could do that dealt psychic damage was Vicious Mockery, and for some reason the bards have a monopoly on that. And can still steal all of our other spells.
Yeah, because we're better.
That's a bit much there, my friend.
Yeah, bards suck.
Excuse me?
Yeah. Yeah, the bards, bro, they got nothing. They got nothing on
as a
good
real
old-fashioned-
life bard, I take offense to this.
We all play instruments. You're just better at it than me.
It's okay, Jake was better at it than me.
Look, you're both better at it than me. Let's just move on. We're
we're
cry in
moving
a
on.
corner.
Well, in that case, do I have a spell for you? Well, I guess technically Ben has a spell for me to have for you. It's kind of weird, but anyways, I have a second level enchantment spell. It's called Tasha's Mind Whip. Mind Whip. Thank you very much. It has a range of 90 feet, which is pretty dang good, and has a duration of 1 round and casting time 1 action. Yada yada yada. When it's only verbal, nothing to worry about there. You physically lash out at one creature you can see within range, which is 90 feet, by the way. Never forget. The target must make an intelligence saving throw. On a failed save, the target takes 3d6 psychic damage. That's a pretty big number, if you ask me. And it can't take a reaction until the end of its next turn. Real good, if you ask me. Moreover, on its next turn, it must choose whether it gets a move, an action, or a bonus action. It only gets one of the 3. On a successful save, the target takes half as much damage and suffers none of the spell's other effects. So it's just kind of like slow, but without all of the extra slow stuff, and only for 1 round, but also deals a good amount of damage. At higher levels, when you cast a spell using a spell slot of 3rd level or higher, you can target 1 additional creature for each slot level above 2nd. The creatures must be within 30 feet of each other when you target them. So, it's not too bad. Just kind of like pings from one dude to the next, you know?
It's
Pretty
like
solid.
a weird combination of like chain lightning and slow, but
Yeah.
with psychic damage.
Yeah, it's great, right? Psychic
It's
damage,
pretty-
one of the hardest damages to resist, right?
Uh-huh.
In the game. Like, that's just a thing.
Like, you
Like,
have to
most
have a
things-
specific magical ring to resist it.
Or something, you know, like a lot of monsters, they tend to not resist or be immune to psychic damage. It's more common
Yeah,
to be like,
like,
necrotic or fire.
The
or whatever.
Tarask is resistant to every damage type except acid and psychic.
Yeah,
So there
exactly. Yeah, and so like it's that already makes it good, and then on top of that, you nerf other people's turns and their off turns, so there's no reactions. You know, you could do it to whatever caster that the enemy has, so that way you can your next turn's spell can pop off with the less likely to be counterspelled, right? That kind of thing. It's just overall a good like combination of different spells that I used to love, and now I love this one too.
Nice.
Yeah.
It is a pretty good spell, I will say.
And it's only
Although-
second level and has great opportunity for every level, for every spell slot you cast higher. You know, you just get to target one more person. You could do the whole team of enemies that you're going against, possibly. Depending
I
on how many of them are,
personally, I don't view it as good enough to take the risk because I am not the kind of guy who likes to use a spell and have it not do anything. And I feel like Tasha's whip is one of those things where it's like it's a big risk for a huge reward, but I'm not a risk taker in D&D. So
I mean,
for
I
me,
think it's still worth it.
it's like-
you know, when you cast it at higher levels, I think it makes it better because you're more likely to have at least one person fail the saving throw.
yeah,
I mean, obviously, of course, if they're mind slivered, that always helps too.
yeah.
But
I think
you know.
another thing that would help me love this spell is once I get to higher levels and I have more spell slots to burn through, I think I'll fall in love with this spell. But as of now, I haven't encountered that experience, so we'll see. That one, I'm out on that one. The jury's
That's
out.
fair. I can
for me.
respect that. I still think it's great for a second level spell to just like possibly nerf the heck out of some guy.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
give him
my
damage.
sorcerer buddy in the game loves that spell. Like he spams that spell, and that's like one of the only spells that I don't abuse. I have it just so I have psychic damage in my spell book, so I can change my other spells to be that. But
I see. But yeah,
that's about it.
that's my second spell, or my first spell. Sorry.
Yeah, I was like, when did you get to your second spell? Man, I missed a lot.
You missed a lot. I was in a cauldron for a week.
Hey, but you know what? You coming out of that cauldron with these spells, I know that you know me well because the first spell you gave me is the only 9th level spell in the book. And if you guys know me well enough, you know I love high level spells. All right.
Did you know 12th level spells are canonical?
Listen, man. As far as character options spells in these books, they only go up to 9th level. We'll get into 12th level eventually, okay? We'll talk about it on the podcast another time. But for now, I got to tell you guys about this spell that Ben found for me.
My favorite level of spells, 3rd level. Shut up, Jake.
my favorite level of spell is a cantrip cast at 12th level.
Jesus. Anyways, my first spell that Ben found for me is called Blade of Disaster. This is a 9th level conjuration spell with a casting time of 1 bonus action. The duration is 1 minute, and it requires concentration. It has a range of 60 feet. You create a blade-shaped planar rift about 3 feet long in an unoccupied space you can see within range. The blade lasts for the duration. When you cast this spell, you can make up to 2 melee spell attacks with the blade, each one against a creature, loose object, or structure within 5 feet of the blade. On a hit, the target takes 4d12 force damage. This attack scores a critical hit if the number on the d20 is 18 or higher, which I know, as in terms of how we talk at our table, that is even better than a cheater crit.
It's an extra cheater crit.
Yeah. On a critical hit, the blade deals an extra 8d12 of force damage for a total of 12d12 force damage. As a bonus action on your turn, you can move the blade up to 30 feet to an unoccupied space you can see, and then make up to 2 melee spell attacks with it again. The blade can harmlessly pass through any barrier, including a wall of force. You just do insane amounts of damage with your bonus action.
Yeah.
You could potentially deal 24d12 of damage with your bonus action every turn.
Yeah, that sounds like a Blade of Disaster to me.
Yeah.
That's an apt spell to me.
That's an apt name for that spell.
And let's be honest, it's just fantastic because you get better crits, and when you do crit, it's not just double, it's triple. So
can you imagine like a cocky fighter or a paladin pulling up on a wizard like, what are you gonna do? Fight me hand to hand? And the wizard's just like, why, actually?
Well, yes.
Yes.
And I really like this because it's 2 attacks that you get each turn.
Yeah.
With your bonus action. So as long as you have this cast and you're concentrating on it, you can now, along with this, cast any other spell that's not concentration. Yeah. And you could just like fireball somebody and then hit them with the Blade of Disaster.
Twice. Yeah.
You know, actually, that makes me want to homebrew a different version of this sword that's not called the Sword of Disaster, but is called Excalibur.
Yes.
Because it would fit really well. Like for Merlin, like if you gave that to like the Merlin of your game or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, he just has Excalibur. Why not? Like he just has it. He just pulled it out of nowhere. And if he hands it to you, that's the sword. That's what it does.
Plus, I also like to think
12 damage.
You could just cheese this spell by casting it while inside of like a Liamon's tiny hut, and because it can harmlessly pass through any barrier, you could just have it like poke through the side of the barrier.
Well, I mean, you can already like attack out of Liamon's tiny hut, so long as you're not the tiny hut caster.
Yeah, but just imagine, like,
hear me out.
A magical sword just appearing out of nowhere from the wall of a tiny hut.
Yeah.
Hear me out. You're chilling inside Mordenkainen's magnificent mansion. All right. Mm-hmm. You're just chilling. Your party's all talking, laughing. Someone casts Hero's Feast. You're having a great time. When all of a sudden, one guy in the back, the edgy boy, is standing in the back by the wall, just gets stabbed by this thing that comes through the wall.
Yeah.
Everyone's just like, what? What just happened?
Yeah. Dude, it's the perfect assassination weapon. Imagine
Squishy
if you
rogue
were
just
playing.
obliterated.
Imagine if you were playing beyond epic level and you went to level 40, right? You're a level 20 rogue with a level 20 wizard. You cast this spell.
Oh god. Oh jeez.
Sneak attack backstab.
I don't
Oh,
know if
God.
it works like that, but I'll let you just keep thinking that.
I would make it work like that because
As
that's
the-
just amazing.
As the arcane trickster rogue, I wish that you could do sneak attack on spells. Oh boy, would I have
I
played
guess that-
very differently.
I guess that remains to be seen.
Yep.
Only time will tell.
But yeah,
Only time will
another
tell.
reason I really like that spell is because not only are you dealing insane amounts of damage on your bonus action, but you're also causing it to be force damage, so it's just pretty sick, you know?
Yeah, force damage, dude. Or if you're Zion, psychic damage.
Force damage, bruh. But yeah, that is the Blade of Disaster.
That's a pretty sweet spell. No lie. I'd like to see, like, a frenzy barbarian or a champion fighter end up with a scroll of that.
Oh, dude, imagine a fighter with a scroll of that. They
A
have
level
4,
20 a paladin.
They have 4 attacks on their turn, and then they have another
Yes.
2 with the bonus action. Oh no! Oh
And action
no!
no, hear me out though. A paladin smiting with that thing.
I don't know if you
Oh,
could smite with that
well,
because it's whenever you make a melee attack.
Yeah, and I don't. Well,
I'm just imagining. What a beautiful sight that would be.
I mean-
it's just like, oh, I'd like to 5th level smite.
You speak of paladins though, Ben.
I do speak of paladins.
You speak of paladins.
I do speak of paladins, and you know what else would be a great spell for a paladin, honestly? And you know what I feel like has been missing from paladin and for a long time? Clerics can kind of do this already. The ability to summon a servant of whatever god you worship. Is that so much to ask?
That's valid.
Clerics can do it.
Yeah.
They might have to pay a bunch of money, but they can do it. It's part of their class abilities. Well, Tashas fixed that problem for me. They added a spell called Summon Celestial. And it does exactly what you think it does. It summons a Celestial. You call forth the Celestial Spirit. It manifests as an angelic form in an unoccupied space. You can see within range. By the way, Clerics and Paladins can both take this spell. It is a 5th level spell. So, there is that.
Yeah, it's hilarious
I was gonna
that it's
say-
still paladins still get it.
I was gonna say I hate to rain on your
Or
parade,
clerics still
Ben,
get it.
but clerics also can do this, and it's a 5th level spell, which is like the end game of paladins, whereas
Yeah, I know.
clerics can do it at like 10th level, 11th level.
But it still fixes it in my mind, because now paladins can at least do it. It's at least something they can aspire to, being half-casters. And it's concentration for up to an hour, so, you know, there's that. And, yeah, you choose an Avenger or a Defender, and the stats change based on whether you choose an Avenger or Defender Spirit. The stats are listed in the spell. There's a lot of them. Yeah, and it helps you in combat. It shares your initiative count, takes its turn immediately after yours, obeys your verbal commands, no action required by you. If you don't issue any, it takes just a dodge action and tries to avoid danger. So, it's a little cowardly unless you tell it to do something, but then again, I would be too if I was just summoned to the material world in the middle of combat and I didn't know what was going on. I'd be like, there's 50 dudes over there, and 50 dudes over there, and 25 dudes fighting in the middle, and I don't know who's who.
Yeah, I mean, imagine if you were just summoned out of nowhere and, like, right next to you, you just saw a giant dragon with a Vorpal sword getting slain. Just an example.
That was oddly specific.
Just an example.
Guys, we already had the oddly specific episode. Please, let's try and keep it under wraps here.
That story's for another day.
Yeah.
That will be for another day until the day we finally tell it.
That's a story that we have made references to since, like, episode 1, and we just keep on saying we'll save it for
because-
another day.
I mean, let's be real. It's because the story happened when we like recorded episode 1.
That's
like,
true.
when it happened. So,
Mhm.
yeah. But earlier, Michael, you were talking about 2 attacks.
Yeah.
Which is kind of neat. And I just wanted to surprise all of the listeners here, because I'm coming out of left field. Because never before have you ever seen a spell above 3rd level from Jake.
Not in the favorites list.
Until now. I bring upon to you a 6th level transmutation spell. It's called Tasha's Otherworldly Guise. As a bonus action to cast, as a range of self, as verbal, somatic, and material. And the material is an object engraved with the symbol of the outer planes worth at least 500 gold pieces, which I can only assume is consumed by the spell, which is kind of... But, I mean, it's a 6th level spell, so right by now you should be rich, right? Right? You should have a lot of money. Stop being poor, idiot. Anyways, it's concentration for up to a minute, and you basically, you utter an incantation. You draw on your magic of the lower planes or upper planes, your choice, and it does affect what happens during the spell. To transform yourself, you gain the following benefits until the spell ends. So, the next couple of things depends on which planes you take from. So if you take from the lower planes, you are immune to fire and poison damage, and also you're immune to the poison condition. And then if you take the upper planes, instead of fire and poison, you are immune to radiant and necrotic damage, and instead of the poison condition, you're immune to the charmed condition. I personally am a fan of the upper planes just because that charmed condition can be pesky and also radiant and necrotic damage. Pretty poggers if you ask me. Anyways, you also get spectral wings appear on your back, giving you a fly speed of 40 feet. Pretty neat. You also get a +2 bonus to AC. Also pretty neat. And all your weapon attacks are magical, and when you make a weapon attack, you can use your spellcasting ability modifier instead of strength or dexterity for the attack and damage rolls. Thank goodness, because we all know strength and dex are your dump stats. And you can attack twice instead of once. When you take the attack action on your turn, you ignore this benefit if you already have a feature, like extra attack that lets you attack more than once on your turn. Which makes sense. So, awesome, right? You just, go from being the squishy person to kind of the tank for a little bit.
I'm gonna be honest, man. Everything about that spell sounded awesome. The only thing that didn't sound awesome,
it's a bonus action too,
and it sounded more like a personal attack, was when you said "stop being poor." Because currently, in our Royal Flush game, where I have 2 characters, both level 15, mind you. One of them he has absolutely 0 money because he was captured and all of his stuff was stolen. The other character has absolutely 0 money because he was disintegrated and so was his money.
Michael,
both of my characters are broke.
Michael, I have one solution to your questions there.
There was no question. That was just saying you were personally attacking me.
Stop being poor. I have a solution to your problem. Stop being poor. It's that simple.
Dude, I have a solution to your problem. Just steal all of Hans's money in his castle that you're currently in with no one watching you.
He has a whole castle right now, and you're in it.
Yeah, but it's in Barovia. They're already struggling to get food and water. I don't need them struggling for money.
Yeah. They're struggling for food and water, not money. They're fine.
Plus, Landers isn't that kind of person. If Landers started stealing gold from the castle, I would have to change his alignment. I couldn't do that to my boy. That's just not a Landers thing. Here's the thing.
Momentary lapse in judgment.
Now, I'm not saying that he wouldn't gladly accept money if a drow just happened to have a lot of money out of nowhere. A drow that he was very close to, that has spent some time in the castle, that definitely has a job and makes tons of money, totally not stealing at all.
Michael, you got another spell for us?
Yeah, Spirit Shroud. This is a 3rd level necromancy spell. Once again, casting time, 1 bonus action. Concentration up to 1 minute for the duration. And it's a range of self this time. You call forth spirits of the dead which flit around you for the spell's duration. The spirits are intangible and invulnerable. Until the spell ends, any attack you make deals 1d8 extra damage when you hit a creature within 10 feet of you. This damage is radiant, necrotic, or cold, which you choose when you cast the spell. Any creature that takes this damage cannot regain hit points until the start of your next turn. In addition, any creature of your choice that you can see that starts its turn within 10 feet of you has its speed reduced by 10 feet until the start of your next turn. And, for casting this at higher levels, when you cast this spell using a spell slot of 4th level or higher, the damage increases by 1d8 for every 2 slot levels above 3rd. This is fantastic. Because you are doing a couple things here. You're dealing extra damage just by hitting somebody. So you get to deal extra damage. And then when they take that extra damage, they can't heal themselves until next turn. So if they're close to dead, you're pretty much signing their death sentence. And you get to also just slow them down. You reduce their movement speed. It's fantastic.
I'm just picturing like the perfect party killer with this spell, honestly. Like, or just like player killer, right? Because like you get them low, then you bust out this spell from some mage, and then they start attacking the character who's already low on health. They go unconscious, but no one can heal them for a full turn. Then some other creature uses their attack action, to stab them while they're on the ground. And then they get two failed death saves. And they can't be healed to be revived right away. They're on the door, literally right there, like as close as possible to death.
Hey, so any DMs out there that want to set up a really difficult encounter, just throw a bunch of cultists that can cast magic and give them the spell.
I'm not gonna
Ben,
lie.
get it prepared for Michael's next character.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I was listening to that, and I have been taking notes because I've purposely tried to kill characters before for story reasons, and it didn't work. So
that would be one of my characters.
Heyo.
Because our buddy Hayden was very persistent on not letting him die.
Yeah, it kept on healing me, and then I kept on doing one more attack to the monster, and then I would go down again when it's the monster's turn, and then it was just a cycle, man. It was rough, but I survived.
Won that fight. I'm kind of surprised still to this day. That creature was like a CR 15, and you guys were like level 6, and there was 2 of you, and you
They were
guys
hard
actually
than that.
won.
They were like 7 or 8, I think.
I think it was level 6 or 7, because it was shortly before you guys ended up going to Barovia.
Yeah,
Because the reason that you were trying to kill off my character was I had to take an exodus from the campaign for a little bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, we didn't kill
Barovia.
it. We did not kill it, I don't think. I think it actually ran away after we got very close to killing it.
We had to be closer to 9th, because I was at least 9th level in Barovia because I could run up walls.
Yeah, but we were still a little bit away from Barovia.
I don't know.
But anyways, yeah.
Anyways.
So DMs, use that spell for your monsters, because it is great.
Yeah. And I wish Tashas had been out when we did the whole Barovia thing, because there's a spell that they came out with that is literally perfect for traveling to Barovia, and it made so much more sense than what I did in my game. This spell is called Dream of the Blue Veil. Okay? Now this spell's a little complicated, and I'm gonna try, because I was informed that I shouldn't by people that shall go unnamed, but I'm definitely speaking to on this podcast.
Hey, what's up?
That I should not lore dump. So, this spell allows you to travel between worlds. So, for example, Eberron, Barovia, the Prime Material Plane where you guys are, Jake's game, Mike's game, my game, Bailey's game, Dalton's world, our boy Kevin's world, all of those are technically susceptible to this spell. You and up to 8 willing creatures within range fall unconscious for the spell's duration, which is 10 minutes, which is not long. Or, sorry, it takes 10 minutes, it's 6 hours. It's still not terrible for traveling between dimensions. Uh, and you see visions of another world on the material plane, such as Orith, Toro, Kryn, or Everon, or any other ones. If the spell reaches its full duration, the visions conclude with each of you encountering and pulling back a mysterious blue curtain. The spell then ends with you mentally and physically transported to the world that was in the visions. Putting aside where you end up, because it's always within a mile of the location of an item that you had, or the person that was born there that you have. That's like a safe space. You guys just traveled interdimensionally to another plane of, like, not even another plane of existence, because that's all within the same world. Like, you guys traveled to another universe with this spell, and this is a 7th level spell. This isn't. It takes more power to astrally project than to travel between universes now in D&D.
Yeah, what's up?
That is that does not compute in my brain. Being like a lore guy, like that is. Something's going on. Tasha did something whack to get this spell to be a thing. Okay?
What about it? It's fine.
Like, anyone who knows anything about Spelljammer or the Crystal Spheres or AO or anything about traveling between dimensions knows that this spell is pulling some strings. And I'm not okay.
Here's
a spell that doesn't pull strings.
Here's the thing that comes to mind when I'm thinking about this, though. Because say you have finished a campaign with your friends like 4 years ago, right? You all got to level 20. It was a good time. Everybody retired.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're running a new game, but you're not the same person who DM'd before. So you're DMing in your own world, right? And then for fantastic story reasons that there's a problem in the multiverse, this party has rejoined just to come and send you a message on your own world. So this old party from like 4 or 5 years ago just comes into your world and is like, hey, solve this issue. And they're like, who are you? Oh, we're from this world.
That's exactly the kind of things that this spell can do. Like,
nothing has sounded more Cade than that. Just like, hey, there's a problem. I don't want to fix it. It's on you now.
And you know what's beautiful about that? I myself as a DM have like 4 or 5 worlds. Okay? I could theoretically run a multi-universe, alternate universe thing where you guys are like jumping between universes. And technically speaking, I came up with this idea today. I haven't even told you guys. But like, theoretically, you could run an entire adventure based around jumping through timelines, and like every time you make a decision, you could just go to a universe where you haven't made that decision yet, and it's kind of like traveling through time, and you could do that all with this spell, right?
Oh, Ben.
Yeah.
You're
and you could
prepping
just
for some reckless character playing.
Oh my god, and you could like go through and you could change one little thing, jump back to your own universe, realize that you just messed up everything across multiple universes because you messed up a decision that should have been made in a universe that was before yours even. And then like, oh my god, it would be crazy. It would be insane the amount of adventures you could get into.
Every chronomancer that's in our what that's listening to this right now is having a brain aneurysm.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm on the verge of a brain aneurysm because I tried not to, but I ended up lore dumping anyway.
You know what, Ben? I might have a small solution for your brain aneurysm that might help a little bit. It's called Intellect Fortress. It's a 3rd level spell. It's a 3rd level abjuration spell. It has a casting time of 1 action. It has a range of 30 feet. Bonus just verbal. And duration, concentration, up to an hour. It's a pretty good amount of time. For the duration, you or one willing creature you can see within range has resistance to psychic damage. Nice. As well as advantage on intelligence, wisdom, and charisma saving throws. That's pretty good. Also, at higher levels, when you cast a spell using a spell slot of 4th level or higher, you can target 1 additional creature for each slot level above 3rd. The creature must be within 30 feet of each other when you target them. That's pretty great.
Yeah.
Like
That's
I just
very
said,
good support spell.
Psychic damage is one of like the most niche damages out there, where not a lot of things do it, not a lot of things resist it, but oh boy, when it does come around, oh boy, do you need it. So just having that as your back pocket, and then also on top of that, having advantage on all those saving throws for all the different, like most like frequently used mental spell.
That I'm not gonna lie,
Gross.
that spell would have helped you guys a lot when you were down in the Underdark fighting Illithids.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That would've
just
been
a
great.
bit.
That would have been great.
Great. Thanks for that.
Awesome. That sounds so cool. But yeah,
No, that would
maybe
be so
it'll
useful.
maybe it'll help us out here and trying to forget Ben's last spell.
Here's the thing. I could
Another
come
problem's gonna come.
I can come out here and I could do a fancy little segue into my next spell. But there's one thing that I still wanted to talk about with Ben's last spell, Dream of the Blue Veil, that I didn't
God.
get to. So I just wanted to bring it up because it's a useful thing that our group has encountered this situation with kind of a funky way of doing it. And I think that other groups are probably going through the same kind of idea. So I wanted to give this as an example, right? Okay, so say you have multiple people that like to DM in your group, right? Now, one of them has been DMing for a long time, the same campaign. He's starting to get worn out, right? Let's say his name is Ben, and he's starting to get worn out from running this one campaign. But then,
Just random guy Ben.
yeah, this random guy Ben. And then, this other guy in the group named Kevin decides that, he can give Ben a break. He can take over some stuff. He has part of his own world and a quest line that he can start running to give Ben maybe like a month or two off, give him a little bit of recuperation time. So instead of just
Kevin for no reason specifically.
Yeah, so instead of just haphazardly going into some weird dimensional rift where you just magically appear in that world, now you have a really cool way of doing it.
By the
You
way,
know what?
Ben is 100% Ben, but the person who has been on our podcast multiple times named Kevin is not the right Kevin.
Yeah.
It's a different Kevin.
We know
Just
many
so everyone
Kevins.
knows.
You know what,
Just
though?
so everyone knows.
You know what I would love to use this spell for, though? Like, to be real with you. Like, after I had already explored all the other planes in one DM's world, like on vacation or whatever, I would totally start vacationing in other worlds. I would become Morden Kanan. Just be like,
I'm really starting to think that you guys are kind of undermining Intellect Fortress.
It's because, it's because Dream of the Blue Veil has so many fun uses.
Intellect,
cool.
hey,
No,
Intellect
it's cool, it's
Fortress.
cool. I get
Intellect
it.
Fortress
I get
is a great spell.
No, it's cool. It's fine. I don't care.
It's so good, so good.
No, it's cool. It's all good. Okay.
I love that spell so much. I can't even
No.
stop talking about it.
Anyways,
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Jake was talking about how he got to surprise you guys by choosing a somewhat higher level spell, and I'm going to surprise you guys by choosing a cantrip. It's called Green Flame Blade. Casting time of 1 action, range of self with a 5-foot radius, and duration is instantaneous. You brandish the weapon used in the spell's casting and make a melee attack with it against one creature within 5 feet of you. On a hit, the target suffers the weapon attack's normal effects, and you can cause green fire to leap from the target to a different creature of your choice that you can see within 5 feet of it. The second creature takes fire damage equal to your spell casting ability modifier. This spell's damage increases when you reach certain levels. At 5th level, the melee attack deals an extra 1d8 fire damage to the target on a hit, and the fire damage to the second creature increases to 1d8 plus your spellcasting ability modifier. Both damage rolls increase by 1d8 at 11th level and 17th level.
Michael?
Yeah.
I hate to break this to you, but I don't think any of us are surprised. Literally everyone likes cantrips. No one has a problem with cantrips. We
Jake,
all love them.
I didn't wake up and choose violence today, but I could have. Instead, I woke up and chose Green Flame Blade
That's kind
and
of
Blade of
ironic.
Disaster, so I kind of chose
I
violence.
was gonna say it's kind of ironic because Blade's kind of a violence.
What if you combine the two?
Oh God.
It's just unnecessary amount of fire added to it.
I mean, technically, let's be real here. Green Flame Blade is an action and a cantrip, and then Blades of Disaster, or is it
Hold on.
Bonus action.
Hold on.
bonus
Spell?
action and a spell? So you can 100% cast them at the same turn.
or
Hold on.
booming blade even.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Let's think about this real quick. So, Blade of Disaster It basically creates a blade-shaped rift.
You make a blade.
To do Green Flame Blade, you have to have the material component of a melee weapon worth at least 1 silver piece. I would say that a Dimensional Rift blade would be worth at least 1 silver piece. Now, this may be crazy, but that would be pretty sick. And then, well, no, you couldn't add this to it. Never mind.
I mean, that's debatable.
No, I was thinking of Spirit Shroud also being added in, but that's just 2 concentration spells. That doesn't work.
Yeah. Shame you can't concentrate on multiple spells unless you have the optional feat that was added by good old Matt Mercer in his book not too long ago in the past, a couple years.
Yep, the Explorer's Guide to Taldore.
Yeah, the Taldore one.
Not Explorer's Guide. I think it's just
Taldore
Taldore campaign setting.
Yeah, he added a feat where you can concentrate on 2 spells at once, but you have to make concentration checks every turn.
That's fine. I would gladly do that for the sake of being able to combine these 3 spells in particular.
I'm not gonna lie, if Zion ever took that spell, he would probably switch it to fire damage because that would be awesome.
Yeah.
For context, Zion is a scribe wizard, so he can change spells to any other damage type. He has a spell prepared for it. Mm-hmm. So he usually keeps like Chromatic Orb and Dragon's Breath prepared, so he can switch his spells to any damage type listed in their effects, which is like all of them. And I'm just like, what damage type do I want to use today? I think I want lightning damage. That's a fireball. No, it's a lightning ball.
That, or I mean, you could also you could combine Green Flame Blade with Spirit Shroud. You could do that, and you could choose for Spirit Shroud the damage type to be cold, and then you're just applying Icy Hot.
Hey,
so you're now Todoroki.
Hey, did you guys know?
And this has been my TED Talk.
Did you guys know? Hold on. I'm just curious. Did you guys know that the podcast Travelers, Tips, and Tales also has a YouTube channel that they upload all of their podcast episodes to as well?
Travelers, Tips, and Tales has a YouTube channel?
Yeah, in addition to all of the other podcast platforms that they...
Why wasn't I told about this?
Well, I'm telling you right now. And did you guys also know that once in a blue moon, Traveler Jake on said podcast makes a meme and they post it to Instagram at Travelers Tips and Tales? Do you guys know that?
I heard that like everybody kind of comes up with these memes, but Jake is the only one with the like power to make them.
And did you guys also know that every now and then Traveler Mike or Traveler Ben will resurrect their ancient and dusted other forms of media, such as Facebook, Twitter, and Tumblr at Travelers Tips and Tales, at Tips Tales, and Tumblr's Tips and Tales, respectively?
Tumblr's Tips and Tales?
Did I say that? I meant Travelers Tips and Dude, we really missed the chance there.
Oh man, that would have been fantastic.
That would have been great. We really bit the bullet there, huh? Did you guys also know that the hit podcast Travelers Tips and Tales also has a Patreon where you can sign up and get homebrew, like a whole homebrew subclass, a bunch of homebrew items, some homebrew characters and NPCs and yada yada, and other things like early episodes and whatnot at Travelers Tips and Tales on Patreon? Did you guys know that as well? Did you?
I mean, I personally did not, but I bet that our fans probably did.
Thanks, Ben's mom.
Thank you, Ben's
We're not
mom,
there yet, Mike.
Also, did you guys know that the Travelers Tips and Tales podcast also has an email where all of their listeners can email any of us any question targeted to any of us specifically, honestly, because we all check it, but at travelerstipsandtales@gmail.com, where you can ask any question, whether it's about D&D, about us, or just podcasts, or anything really, because we just want connections We want communicate.
Or if you
like
just
to
want to
talk to
hate on
people.
us and call us names.
That too, you could also do that.
We
Or
did get
did
one
you
of
guys
those.
also know that Travelers Tips and Tales understands that investing in Patreon without knowing exactly what you're going to get from it is kind of a risky shot in the dark, so they understand that and let out some homebrew stuff and other things that you might get to experience from Patreon, and you can find that kind of stuff at travelerstipsandtales.com. Did you guys know that?
Yeah, we got a website. You should go check it out. Yeah,
Did you guys know that?
That's pretty sick, dude.
it's pretty sick, pretty wicked.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I wish I would have saved it. But in our email, like the first email we ever got was somebody. I think it just said HYTTR.
Hater. Yep.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah,
said
that's really
hater.
weird.
I don't know. I want to say it said hater, but I also don't because I feel like we might just be missing a weird acronym that person was trying to make up.
I don't know.
Who knows?
I honestly don't understand any little bit of that specific.
All I know is no matter what it was, if they were hating on us, then they took the time to email us.
Yeah.
And that just says a lot.
Speaking of taking the time to send us an email or get in touch with us, thank you to my mom for being our in our $50 tier on Patreon, which allows us to shout her out on the podcast. She is a great supporter, and she doesn't cash in on any of her Patreon things that she gets. But if you were to do that, you could totally cash in, and we would totally respect that.
Hey,
Yeah,
Ben's
there's like a
mom,
bunch of stuff that
if
you
you're
could
listening
actually get.
and you're realizing that you could cash in on those, we really don't care. Like you could actually utilize the things that you get from Patreon.
You could guarantee talking to your son for an hour every month at the very least.
Yep.
His
Or
time is
all
pretty
three of us.
valuable.
And two of his friends.
That's true. My time is scarce, is what it is. It's not very valuable yet. It's scarce. When I graduate college, maybe it'll be valuable.
One more thing that I wanted to know if you guys knew. Did you guys know that Traveler Ben, sometimes gets annoyed when Jake steals the tagline that he made up, where at the end of the podcast, every episode, we say adventure.
Adventure away!